About 9 months ago, I bought this Omega Speedmaster Professional, and in this video I want to share my long-term experience with this watch. The legendary and iconic Moonwatch is probably one of the most recognizable watches after Rolex. What I got is the latest Hesalite version with the upgraded dial and the new Master Chronometer certified 3861 Omega movement. The step dial and curved minute and chronograph seconds hands add more visual appeal to the watch in my opinion. The Speedmaster is the watch I was very conflicted about though. I have a video where I touch on this briefly, but today I want to explore it in more details and share my thoughts after owning this watch for some time. I've been in the watch hobby for about 22 years and I always liked Speedy. I think I always wanted to have it in my collection, but it was never my grail or exit watch. Back then, this model from Omega was also very popular but still a niche product. The watch hobby itself was a very niche thing. Today it seems like everyone is talking about watches. Major news outlets publishing articles about watches and watch market. The internet is filled with content about watches. With all that, I have a feeling that Speedmaster Professional is overexposed and maybe overexplained. And it seems to me that Speedy is kinda being pushed down your throat. It actually turned me off the watch to the point I wasn't considering getting it anytime soon. Funny thing is that my experience with the Rolex Explorer 36 was one of the reasons I started thinking about the Moonwatch again. I was on a path of building a perfect watch collection that will cover all my watch needs and will complete my watch collecting journey. Of course, the perfect watch collection is an evolving concept, but I felt like I came as close as possible with my 6 watch collection idea. Both Rolex Explorers were on my list as watches I wanted to have in my collection. I did add the Explorer 2 to the collection a few years ago and I do enjoy it a lot, but the modern Explorer 36 was on the horizon as well. Then last year, thanks to Karen from Wrist Time Company, a great dealer from Toronto, I had a chance to spend a week with the new Explorer 36 and I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. I came to understanding that I liked the previous 36 variant better. When I tried the Explorer 36 for the first time, a long time ago, I was really impressed by how well it was on my wrist. I admired its simplicity and beauty, but it was the previous 36mm version. The model they had before Rolex moved to the 39 version and back to the 36 case size in the most modern iteration. Don't get me wrong, the modern Explorer is a great watch, but it wasn't ideal for me how I was expecting it to be. You can check out my review of this watch where I share my thoughts about the Explorer. So I've started thinking about other watches that would fit my collection. With some extensive thinking process, I arrived to the conclusion that Speedy might be the one. The Moonwatch is a completely different watch compared to the Explorer, of course, but there are some similarities as well. The watch is much larger, it's a chronograph with manual wind movement, and it has only 50 meters of water resistance. But it's also an iconic watch, even more iconic I think. With an important history significance, it's also a simple-looking black and white watch. Very monochrome. What's interesting is if you ask watch enthusiasts what's their one and only watch could be, many would say the Moonwatch. I can't say I share this idea though. I think that Speedy lacks some qualities to be your one and only, but it can be a perfect addition to any collection, even if it's a 2-watch collection. I also think that Speedmaster is one of the most romantic watches out there. It's a very classic chronograph. The iconic design hasn't changed much during its more than 60 years history. That's why the modern Speedo looks both vintage and modern at the same time. The manual wind movement helps you to feel connected to the watch when you are winding it up every morning. The Hesalite crystal adds to that vintage feel as well. With all that said, here are things I was worried about with the Speedmaster. I like the Hesalite crystal version for its vintage feel and look, but I was worried it would get scratched very quickly and easily. I made a review of the Speedmaster on this channel with the Hesalite crystal covered with scratches. And it wasn't a pleasant sight to see. I know it can be polished, but still, it was quite disturbing to me. Now, having this watch in my everyday rotation for about 9 months, I can say that the crystal looks very good. I barely can spot a few hairline scratches in a certain light, but nothing very visible that would bother me. I can't say I was wearing this watch extra careful. Another reason I was hesitating is the low water resistance rating and absence of a screw-down crown. The watch is rated for up to 50 meters of water resistance. It's a space watch that doesn't need to have a good water resistance. And since it's a manual winding watch, the screw-down crown doesn't make sense here. Because of that, I cannot consider it as a great one and only watch. On the other hand, according to Omega, the 50 meters water resistance rating means exactly that. It means you can swim with the Speedmaster. Heck, even Omega DeVille with 30 meters water resistance should be swimmable according to Omega. Additionally, Speedy is a watch that passed NASA extensive tests, so it should be fine as an everyday piece even if you ended up swimming with it. With all that information, I am still subconsciously feel like Speedy is a more fragile watch than, let's say, my Railmaster. So I don't wear it to places where I may encounter activities like active sport or swimming. Although it could be a very nice and humble business trip companion, for example. The third reason of my hesitation was that watch is a chronograph. The chronograph complication, while nice, is not something that I use very often. In fact, I use it very rarely. When I got the watch, I didn't feel super excited, but rather it was a calm and sort of logical satisfaction, like something that progressed very naturally and was expected. Of course, I was happy to get the watch, and it was really nice to pick it up at an AD and unbox it later at our home, but I wasn't pumped. It felt like rather a logical and expected upgrade of the collection. That was an interesting feeling because I usually very excited about new watches. But with some of those watches the excitement was fading very quickly as well, so I was very curious about it, and still wondering if that more calm reaction is a sign that the watch would stay longer in the collection or I would get bored of it at some point. So far I can say that I really like wearing the Speedy and wear it almost every day, and I really miss it when I am traveling with my other watches and leave Speedy behind. I also like to play with straps with this watch. It feels like there are endless possibilities and I am having fun with that. That's the real life test for me. The watch might look simple and boring, but if I want to wear it every day, then it's a good watch for me. So that's what my experience with the Speedmaster been like. I didn't want to talk about specs in this video, but rather share my thoughts on the watch after owning it for some time. Let me know what you think about the Speedmaster. What was your experience like with this watch, even if you haven't owned it yet? Thank you for watching and happy collecting.